I have been asked by my friend in Gaza to make this video explaining her situation and just so that I can sort of convey how outrageous everything is. I used to be two state, and what happened was September 22nd, 2023, officially at the UN, Israel on its official map declared that Gaza was also Israel and the West Bank was also Israel, which is either a war declaration with a neighboring territory, or according to Israel's perspective, it makes Gazans and West Bank people equal Israelis, which is an inequality trigger unless their standard of life is then equal to Tel Aviv Israelis and so on, and they get equal access to army protection, resources, everything. So basically, then didn't do border intel control even 2 weeks after this famous inequality trigger. Israel had intel from Egypt and the US. This can be found on American news outlets in by October 13th, 2023, that they had let them know. And now nearly all military Israel, which is nearly all soldiers, by the way, they've been training for this their whole lives. And they claim that they have the best tech in the world and oh, they're really ahead of everything and they have security issues. And they got yearly funding in I don't even know how much, okay, from the West just for security and all of that, and to develop their technology. So they should have been monitoring tunnels to begin with, instead of like being like, oh well, we don't know where that money went, but we didn't check. But anyway, so Israel provokes matters itself, ignores intel for 2 weeks, lets Hamas cross its borders twice, not once but twice. The second time with hundreds of hostages, if I'm not mistaken, but like a lot of people, and this is nearly all military Israel. No one intercepts Hamas. No one tries to stop them. Israel turns around, and then for 2 years, the Gazans that it has claimed are Israeli, and these are unarmed civilians with children, families, etc. It literally traps them because having claimed they're Israelis means it's no longer Egypt or anyone else's responsibility to handle them. You're the ones who have to take care of your citizens, which is 2 million citizens, basically. So Israel traps them, then Israel bombs them, then Israel displaces them, starves them, displaces them again, starves them, destroys their homes. They have no army, no weapons, nothing to protect them, and insults them in the media, ignores them in the media, justifies it in the media. Now, there's two counterpoints to this that people bring up. One is that, oh, every Gazan is a future Hamas terrorist, in which case, you're thinking like Hitler. Because that's what Hitler used to say about Jewish children, and all of us disagree with him for a reason. You can't just assume, oh, because everyone will be whatever, we can kill their kids preemptively. Otherwise, you are necessarily saying that the Holocaust that Hitler did, according to Israel, was okay. And that it was okay, according to Israel or according to Zionists, for Hitler to do that to Jewish kids. We all disagree. And then the second thing is, oh, it's the kids' fault. They should release the hostages. The parents should release the hostages. In which case, you're saying October 7th was the fault of the victims of October 7th and the children of Tel Aviv and etc. Because it was their government that provoked a neighbor or provoked 50% of its population, Gaza and the West Bank, if it's Israel's population as per Israel's claim, did not treat them well, and so they had to resist, and Israel didn't do security. Either way, that point does not stand. You don't have a justification for killing children. And then if you say, oh yeah, Hamas, tunnels is your fault, firstly. You should have been like monitoring that years ago. And if you say, oh, but Hamas uses them as human shields, Tel Aviv is used as a human shield because there's a military base of their intelligence, whatever. I think within a civilian city center, like close to a very major civilian or in a civilian area. I just don't want to say the wrong thing, but like, yeah, it's surrounded by civilians. That's not an excuse either. And then for 2 years, Israel is, I don't know, so incompetent maybe that they did not solve. Sorry, this is not funny. No, Israel is so incompetent that for 2 years, Israel didn't recover hostages. Despite having all Western tracing satellites at their disposal, Hamas leaving their own border, Hamas being a known and profile threat, and then Israel has been not just torturing Gaza, but then also setting a Christian West Bank village on fire and like trying to get those people to move and harassing them too. So basically, Israel has 50% of its population by its own claimed sort of population demographics, in concentration camps. And then these people have been listening to the sounds of drones nearly incessantly. Civilian areas or like shelters have been accidentally bombed and etc. And then once in a while they'll give this false flag of news, oh, we're very sorry we did, and then they'll be doing it 400 times more than they say, metaphorically speaking, but like way more than they say. Um, 8 sites that are run by I think America, etc. Israel starts shooting at civilians when they go there to get food, and this is a militarized area, so there's no chance of anything happening. They don't have notices, etc. there to direct the population. They just start shooting at them, and so Mahmoud's family is one of the victims of this Holocaust, which is one of no, which is the worst thing to have happened in 75 years, and arguably could be the worst thing that's been done in 100 years because of the knowledge of the last 100 years, and then to do this anyway. And it's done by Israel. Only Israel has been to blame September 22nd, 2023 onwards. So Mahmoud went to one of these 8 shelters to get food for his family because, well, when Israel started this upon its area Gaza, which is also Israel, Gaza's GDP fell by around 80% within the first quarter of this starting. So October to December 2023. Israel's growth slowed over the next year by I think 2 or 4%, something or the other, either from 6% to 2% or 6% to 4% or like 4% to something like that. And just giving a contrast, Israel's accuracy has been so off that, according to The Guardian, Israel's own data shows that of the people killed, only 16% were fighters. The rest, Israel just murdered civilians, are unarmed civilians that were just that had nothing to do with it. If you claim Hamas as a terrorist, obviously they won't listen to the civilians. And if you treat the civilians this way, you're explaining why resistance has to exist. And all Israel's done is create at least 50 times more Hamas, because if you have even a rudimentary understanding of human nature, killing people's children and torturing them unjustly to no like coherence or anything proves to them that they have to either become your collateral anyway or they should just join Hamas. And then the rest of the world also starts to resist because even the rest of the world thinks this is a really bad thing to do, and we don't want to ruin our own precedents and and global precedents over this. And we have children to raise. We have to teach them things about the world. We know this isn't strategically, practically, or religiously sound, and then they're going to resist it. And your competition globally abroad will have more genuinely grieved parties that they can use as proxies. So you become more unstable and more unsafe. And to prove how broken this vision is by the Israeli vision is, the ones that are doing all of this, um, they were getting a corridor from Arabs. Modern Arabs weren't even bringing up Palestine, gifting Israel this corridor, which was giving Israel safety, integration, and legitimacy. And this was strengthening the West and the Ukraine cause against Russia, China, Iran, etc., etc. And Israel is the one that interrupted this September 22nd, 2023 onwards to do the worst thing in 75 to 100 years in the West and Israel's name, making its surroundings and itself unsafe and unstable. No religious case, because if you look at Deuteronomy, which is the final book in the chronology of the Old Testament, it's 23:7 and 2:5. It says you can't hurt Egyptians, you can't hurt because you used to reside there once. It also said that the Abrahamic seed of Isaac. So before I go to the next point, I'll clarify this point too. Uh, the Old Testament clearly specifies that this area was for the seed of Isaac, but it does not clearly specify that this area was only for the seed of Jacob. In fact, it goes out of its way to let the seed of Jacob know that the seed of Isaac has to be respected, and Isaac had another son whose name was Esau, I don't know how to pronounce it, and that his descendants still live there in this general vicinity of the area. And it does not say a hill, it says the hill country belongs to them. Do not expel them from their homes, do not hurt them, do not kill them. I have given them this area. God says that. So Jacob's seed, like if you want to be religious about it, God's promise came true in 1917 when Jewish people got the chance to move to what had become Abrahamic. This whole area was Abrahamic now. And when someone is Abrahamic in that area, whether you're Muslim, Christian, or Jew, or others, because there are more Abrahamic lineages, the Old Testament you follow. Because, for instance, even the Quran says the Old Testament is one of our books. So you have to believe in the Old Testament. God's promise came true when Jewish people could move there peacefully, and the area was Abrahamic, so it belonged to the seed of Abraham in that way too. Let alone that the seed of Isaac also happened to still live there, and Palestinians, Jordanians, etc. The general area was where the seed of Isaac's other son also lived. So Israel has no religious case in hurting Palestinians and removing them, because you're potentially hurting, let's say, a potential majority or a potential percentage of Isaac's other seed, and you're forbidden from doing that. So they don't have a religious case. They definitely don't have a religious case in expanding, because then again, more seeds of Isaac and Egypt you can't hurt. You can't take their land and etc. And had they taken the corridor, had they done things a smart way, they could have done Syria smarter without legitimizing the murderers of American civilians, Al Qaeda, by putting up billboards of the guy and like saying, "Oh, this is our new strategy: remove sanctions." Put Al Qaeda on the border of Israel, so that's like, that's I think the most unsafe thing you can do, and then legitimize Al Qaeda on the border of Israel. And after that, Christians started being false flagged, bombed in like Syria's church, while Israel itself is killing Christians, obviously. That's not new, that's nothing new. As for strategy, they have no strategic sense, because, like I said, there was that alternative that was strategically giving them way, way, way better outcomes for their interest, to fewer loose ends and more returns. This is just a mess. And yeah, and Mahmoud has children to take care of. Mahmoud has lost his home, he lost his work, he's got shot in the foot while he was trying to get aid for his family, because there's no vocation in Gaza that you can have consistently necessarily, except for a few services which are very arbitrary. Like, okay, if you have a car, maybe you can pick and drop someone and then you can make some money. But how are people going to get money? And then, as a result of there being less money available in Gaza, commissions have had to become high because of a demand supply issue. So there's less cash, and as a result, even if people try to send money from other countries, what happens is that a lot of that gets deducted in then sort of withdrawing that amount or whatever. So please, if you can help Mahmoud, if you can help his family and others in Gaza, it would be really appreciated. And if you could speak up about this issue, boycott any brands or businesses that are associated with this stuff, that would be very, very appreciated. Thanks.